September the
I just
9th,
like to sit.
2018. September the 9th, I'm tripping. September 21st, 2018. Welcome to the Third Down Show. I'm your host, T. Wayne the Don. Listen, so much has happened. Look, first thing first, I would like to apologize for Wednesday. I was busy doing some other things. I had to bring my girlfriend to the doctor. So I really get back in time to do the show. So we're just going to combine between Wednesday and today. Um, a lot of things that happened. Browns won the game. Browns finally got their first win since December 24th, 2016. A lot of things has happened. I saw the tweet that Marvel had put out 6 movies since the Browns had won their last football game. Like, wow. Could y'all name all 6? Also, talk about that. We talk about LSU tomorrow, going into LA Tech. Talk about the season series, the history between the two schools, the LA schools. Also, we talk a little bit about top football matchups over the weekend. Then we talk about the NFL Saints Falcons, and we also going to finish out the top matchups this weekend in the NFL as well. Closer and closer we get into basketball. We're going to start soon talking about basketball as well. So let's go on. Let's go start with them Tigers first. LSU tomorrow going to take on. I had to play a little while longer. LSU tomorrow going to take on Louisiana Tech. Let the music play a little bit while I go through the intro. Then I'm going to break it down from there. LSU all-time series against the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs would be 18-1. LA Tech biggest win was 6-0 over LSU. I think LSU's biggest. I didn't put it down, but I remember it. I want to say 71-0. Now, I think it's been a few years since these two schools has fought each other, but good matchup, really solid school. They've really been making a lot of noise over probably about the last 10 years. They've been progressing to do better. Remember a few years back, they took Johnny football to a couple of overtimes, and they came back in that game with A&M a few years. So this program been going on the up and up, man. This is a program that you don't sleep on going forward. And I think it's going to be a good test for them at home. I expect to see some things coming forward for Joe Burrow and that offense this weekend. Now, in the first 3 weeks of the season, Joe Burrow has not thrown an interception yet. I think that's a tremendous number, but at the same time, I think that's a number as fans. I think, we've been real conservative with him. I think they're trying to bring him along slowly, which I'm very, very, very fine with that. You're trying to give the young players some confidence in this system. I think this is going to be the next few weeks when you got between Ole Miss and Florida coming up soon. The Tigers from here on out going to be, besides Rice, before the second to last game of the season, but the next 6 games going to be in SEC play. From here on out, I think now this is where you guys install that confidence. You got Ole Miss coming home. You got to go to Florida on the road. You got Mississippi State coming in. Then you got to worry about Georgia. Then you still got to worry about Alabama and everybody like that. There's a lot at stake, if you ask me, about what Joe Burrow can do for you and what this offense can do. We see how talented this defense is. This defense is going to keep you around with anybody in the country, from Ohio State to Clemson to even Alabama. I think this defense is going to keep you around in the game. But how much can this offense can gain confidence the next couple of weeks, especially when they get to Georgia at home? That's going to be, probably, I think that should be game of the week when you start looking at LSU and Georgia. Probably Georgia's true first really test of the season, playing a team on the road that's going, I think by that time, going to still be undefeated. I think they're going to be looking to be where they at and looking to see Georgia in the SEC championship game. I think that's what LSU mindset is at, especially if they beat Georgia at home. Once again, I want to see the offense get a rhythm. I want to see them still run the football effectively. I felt like, they played a talented front seven last week with Auburn. I think Auburn defensive line kind of controlled the game. I think they played a lot of true freshmen last week, which that's something LSU is known to do. Same time, I want to see them get back to their roots, run the football. I would like to see some play action. I would like to see different things as in just giving him more confidence, especially going to SEC play. We got Ole Miss coming in next weekend at home. So, that's some things I would definitely love to see Joe Burrow do and kind of master the next couple of weeks. That Florida game going to tell it all. I know Florida's not Auburn, but go on the road, a hostile environment like the Swamp, and you can play with the Florida Gators on the road, I definitely like our chances. That's getting them more confidence. That's still one of the true blue bloods of the SEC. You don't disrespect Florida, even though they're not in the best of times as a program. But I respect Florida, and I think just going on the road, getting a win in Gainesville could mean a lot going into playing Georgia and Alabama on the schedule soon. So very excited to see what they're going to do this weekend. I'm not too concerned. I think they win this game, but I don't want to see them be conservative on offense. I really want to see the offense put on a show. I want to see the offense put up at least 30 points. I think defensively they're going to put them in good situations. I think there's going to be a more simulation game to give this team more confidence. I think LA Tech going to fight back. This is going to be more of a challenge than what people think it's going to be. LA Tech going to score some points. I'll give LA Tech at least 14 points. I do. And I think they're going to strike early. I think this is a team that's not scared. I think this is a team that's been looking. If you ask me, this is a program that's looking for a significant win to start putting themselves over in college football. And what I mean by that is, I think when you start looking at the gap in the state of Louisiana from who can be the second best program behind LSU, from up and down over the years, you think about UL had their season, ULM had a season, then you had Louisiana Tech. That's probably been the more consistent of the three. Tulane had a season, but if you ask me, LA Tech's probably been the more consistent out of all four of them schools. UL had the Terrence Broadways, and remember they was all under, they was going to New Orleans Bowls back to back to back to back. Like, that's as far as the UL can go at one point in time. ULM went up to Arkansas, beat Arkansas. Then remember the following week they went compete with Auburn. They almost beat Auburn. Then a few weeks later, they played Baylor. They put on the show versus Baylor at home, but I think they lost by like a touchdown, I believe. So ULM had a magical season not too long ago. I always said this for years about the Louisiana schools that's behind LSU. I would love to see a LA school be in the Big 12. And I think Louisiana Tech is probably the only school that's probably on that level to do that. But, I think now is almost, you need the significant wins to prove that you can play with Texas. You can play with Baylor. You can play with TCU. You can play with Oklahoma State. You can play with Kansas. And I know it's Kansas, but Kansas is actually on a 2-game winning streak. You need them significant wins. In a game like this, if you beat the number 6 ranked team in the country, it could start giving you some notice later on down the line. But once again, we have to pay attention. I think it's going to be a challenge for LSU still. Do not overlook this game. You see what Troy did last week against Nebraska. Troy stay getting key wins for their program all the time. So shout out to Troy. Gotta give it to them. They stay getting key wins for their program. Going to be a good game tomorrow. Like I said, my final score, I'm hoping, I'm really hoping to see some of Miles Brennan tomorrow. I'm hoping that LSU handle their business early. About mid-third quarter, we start seeing some changes. But I'm going to give them, I think, what they are, 20-point favorite, 20.5-point favorite. I'm going to say 35-14. Now, I think they're going to score early. I think LA Tech going to score early, but I think they're going to probably get a late touchdown at the end of the game to make the score look a little better at the end of the day. So I'm going to be ready this weekend to see what them Bayou Bengals going to do the next couple of hours when we kick off. About, I think they play at 6, about another 24, maybe about 30 hours from now. Top matchups over the weekend, I got Alabama A&M. Jimbo Fisher, he took the number 2 ranked team in Clemson a few weeks ago all the way to the wire. Did not win. Now they get to play the number 1 ranked team in the country and Alabama at home. Don't really know what to really say about this one, guys. I think Alabama going to win, but I want to see how A&M going to compete, how more with a game like playing number 2 ranked team in the country can do to you, give you confidence, because you competed and you was in the ball game. You had plays to win the game. The touchback in the end zone kind of cost them. You competed. I think games like this could give you more confidence. I think this A&M team going to be ramped up. I think they're going to give them their best shot to try to slow down Tua and the rest of that offense, that hot offense they got going right now in Alabama. And also, I'm interested to see how defensively what they're going to do. And I also want to see offensively how they're going to counteract when Alabama strikes hard. Because that's the thing about Alabama. Once they punch, You could punch hard with them, but they punch harder. How you gonna counteract they punch? And I want to see if Jimbo Fisher got the plan. Remember last year, he kept for a little while. They was in the game, but the second half, the Seminoles just fell apart in the second half. DeAndre Francois was knocked out. They didn't have no answers, and then just kind of the rest of Jimbo Fisher's career at Florida State went down from there, if you ask me. Pay attention to that one. Michigan versus Nebraska. Scott Frost finds himself behind the sticks at 0-2. Michigan looking to try to keep themselves up in the Big Ten. They're 18-point favorite to win this game. I'm looking forward to that. I got a Pac-12 matchup that means a lot. Oregon, Stanford. The Stanford and the Oregon Ducks. Stanford's a 2.5-point favorite to win this game on tomorrow. It's going to be a good game. I'm telling you, battle of position in the Pac-12, because even at the same time, Washington, Arizona State. Now, Washington is a 17.5-point favorite. Arizona State, after getting that big win over Michigan State a few weeks ago, lost to San Diego State last week. Arizona State trying to bounce back to try to still put themselves in the mix of something. But Herm Edwards got this program going in the right direction. I think it's going to be a better game than what you would think. I'm going to be paying attention to that one tomorrow night. I know it's going to be a late game as well. So those are my top matchups over the weekend. I know they got more, but those are the ones I'm kind of paying attention to. If I miss one, guys, let me know. Just let me tell me what I'm doing wrong or anything like that. So, y'all know I normally play music when the Browns lose. I always play that Pray For Me, that Dr. Moses. You know how Scott Van Pelt got that theme song by the Mississippi Mass Choir, No, I'm Not Tired Yet? You know, that's what the song really saying, that, you know, I'm not tired running from Jesus. Well, I got to pray for me because I'm going through something. Well, the Browns was going through a lot. I think 635 days since they won an NFL regular season game. And finally on last night I watched the whole game, and there was parts in the game when I was like, wow. And there was other parts in the game I was like, really? And there was parts in the game I was like, you know, the mental toughness showed this team really could be a 3-0 team if you ask me. I'm not going to sit here and say, Skip Bayless said this morning, they could be 3-0 in the Baker Mayfield. I think he's going a little too far with that. But if you ask me, shout out to the Cleveland Browns for finally winning the ball game. 21-17 was your final score. They deserved this one too. Finally, we don't have to hear this season a winless season for the Cleveland Browns. 1-1 is the Cleveland Browns records, and actually they find themselves in good position if Baltimore lose this weekend. Now, with the Ravens, if they lose this weekend, find themselves at 1-2. Cleveland find themselves 1-1, and then you got Cincinnati playing the Carolina Panthers this weekend. The Browns can find themselves and if the Steelers do lose to the Buccaneers this weekend, the Browns can find themselves in the thick of the AFC North in the Week 3, playing the struggling Oakland Raiders next week to put themselves possibly 2-1 in the thick of things in the first month of the football season. The first quarter of football year, they can find themselves at least 2-1. I think the Browns will take that as a major success going forth to get into the heart of the regular NFL season. So let's talk a little bit about what happened on last night. Talk a little bit about it, about the stat lines. Let's talk about some things. Look, I'm going to say on this, Isaiah Crowell, when he wiped his behind with the football and threw it in the crowd, kind of just giving, because Isaiah Crowell was there for so many years with them losing seasons, just showing his respect and what he thought about this program. That's when I think kind of ignited everything else. That's when everything kind of went wrong for the New York Jets. Mayfield coming to, let me put it like this. And I like how a lot of people bashing Tyrod Taylor, and now in this game he did not play well. He didn't. I mean, Tyrod went 4 for 14, 19 yards. He got sacked three times for 22 yards. Now, first, some of this is on his offensive line. His offensive line gave up 4 sacks all night long. He didn't have a lot of time sometimes, but this is typical Tyrod Taylor at the same time. 4 for 14, 19 yards, not going to get the job done. He rushed 4 times for 22 yards. You know, shout out to Carlos Hyde, who had almost a 100-yard game, 23 carries for 98 yards, 2 TDs on the day. Listen, I mean, I think what's going to happen before I really break the game down from yesterday, they say Hugh Jackson said he's going to look at the tape. and I'm pretty sure Hugh